From the truckload quoting page within TMS, you can create a new shipment to instantly display your historical lane average alongside all of the market-leading rating intelligence tools. In just a few clicks, you can adjust the quote, add your margin, select your quote response template, and email an official quote right off to the customer from the same page. Request a demo today at tie-software.com to find out how TMS can optimize your quoting process.
Welcome back to another edition of Chat Call. Today we're covering the world of artificial intelligence and its role that it can play in a freight brokerage and an organization. All right, today we welcome back our favorite Mitch Mitchell, CEO of TMS. Welcome back, Mitch.
Hi, thanks for having me again. Always enjoy being with you.
I am very excited about this one. This is something that we've kind of seen evolve into popular culture. We're going to talk about Chat GPT, AI, and machine learning. And unfortunately, we are not the country of Italy, who I think has either successfully banned or almost banned Chat GPT, which is very interesting for them. But, everywhere you look, it seems to be that AI is coming for our jobs. The robots are going to take over. I mean, the other day we saw the founder of AI just leave Google, and I'm sure he's, off the grid somewhere in remote Montana, just, living his best life. But I guess as it relates to, logistics in a freight brokerage, what kind of benefits are there for implementing some sort of AI and basically how can Chat GPT help you at your job at a brokerage?
Yeah, I think the opportunity is still being unraveled, right? And we're going to see a lot of changes. But one of the things that's the most interesting about this is Chat GPT has brought AI back into the mainstream conversation. And what I mean by that is it's not just the tech people who are talking about it now. It's everybody. I have nephews who are 18 who are talking about it and using it. And to everyone, even my parents use it at some point now. So, which is a little bit scary, but that's a whole separate conversation. But the point is that everybody's willing to try it out and willing to take a look at these AI generative tools. But on the other hand, we've had a lot of this for a long time anyway. So these aren't brand new. These are mature technologies that are just being exposed to us now in a little bit different of a way. So what's going to happen next is the adoption. I think it's going to spread like wildfire, which will be really fun.
I think that there's something that's different about the Chat GPT that brings it back. Because you're right, every couple of years we have AI coming through, it's taking over, and robots are coming for our jobs. And it seems to be kind of that every couple of year cycle. But I think something that's different about it is it's making it much more approachable for someone that maybe doesn't have that huge tech background. Like myself, I don't know how to do a lot in technology, but if I can just type into a box and ask it a question like I would be asking you a question, it's just so much easier. Like one of my friends who, bless her heart, does not struggles with a Word document, or she's not very technologically savvy. She was able to have it. She just asked it hey, how do I, come up with this lesson plan for a speech kid working on N sounds? And it came up with a couple good ideas she hadn't thought of, and she used it as a great kind of starting point to say, okay, well, it got me most of the way there, and there's some great activities, but I still need to take it just a little bit further, because it is something that we've seen in the news a lot, is that, it's not always 100% accurate. So you do need to go back and double check it to make sure that it is, still factually accurate.
That's absolutely right. And that's, I think, where ChatGPT really has made AI sexy again and has made it really so mainstream is exactly what you're talking about. It gives you that starting point. So you're not starting from zero, because I think we all struggle with that, is that first initial getting off the ground with whatever project we're working on can take some time. And I mean, we used to just copy and paste from previous documents. I'm like, okay, I'll use this as kind of my starting point. But what if you don't have that starting point? That's where these ChatGPT or, and there's another one called Bard, which is Google's version of ChatGPT, which is just kind of catching up some steam right now as well. But the generative AI, is super helpful to get you that first 80%. And you definitely shouldn't take what you get from ChatGPT and just send it off. Which, kind of like we saw in the South Park episode, right? Which I think is a tremendously bad idea, but maybe a productive use of ChatGPT. If you haven't seen it, then you have to go watch it.
Literally regardless of if you are a fan of South Park or not, I have loved South Park for a very long time. This was probably one of their best episodes. In the actual writing credits of it, they credit ChatGPT for part of it, and the whole kind of thing of it is that they're using ChatGPT to text each other, to text their girlfriends, and keep up with it that way. And I laughed so hard, and I immediately was like, why am I not using Chat GPT to respond to text messages?
I thought it was a very clever use case for it, and one that I know would get all of us in a tremendous amount of trouble, but so funny and such a great use. So that ties right into don't just blindly copy and paste what ChatGPT says. Take it and build on it. And I think if you do that, you end up with a tremendous starting point that will help you produce your work faster and produce a high quality of work, but still let you contribute to the process and still take advantage of your special skill sets and your specific experience, which should be the generative AIs anyway.
Exactly. And one of the things that it does really well is, like I kind of said, it gets kind of generic and bland and not really amazing. It doesn't have like the best fine details, but what it does is it gives you a great knowledge base. So for example, if I need to know about something that I don't really have a whole lot of time to go and read like 4 or 5 different articles about, or I just need to kind of get caught up to speed on like the 3,000 feet view of it. I'm going to go type in like, hey, what is this? Give me a quick little breakdown of it with a good example. And that kind of gives me that baseline I need to know, oh, okay, this is what it is. So that I know where to go to find, or what to search for to find those more specific details that I can really hone in on. It's kind of a great, like we've said a bajillion times so far, it's a great starting point to just kind of, instead of just jumping in and wading through the waters, it kind of says, no, you're going to go in this way, and here's an effective route to go through it.
Exactly right. It's a tremendous tool for helping us out along those lines. And I think if we use it right, it can add tremendous value to us throughout anything that we're working with. So like, for example, customer service, I think, is a great place to leverage this. And we have a lot of tools today that help us with templated responses and so forth. But if we use ChatGPT to help us a little bit, maybe we can also ask ChatGPT to make sure it's building a little empathy into our responses. And that's something that sometimes as customer service people, we forget to do because, we know the answer. And even though we know we need to show empathy to our customers, we sometimes forget a little bit, right? And we get caught up in the moment. So if we use something like this, it can help us, again, cover that first percentage and help leverage that high quality customer service experience we want with still having the human interaction.
Yeah, it's one of those where you can even I've been amazed at, I've asked it things like everyone does. They go in and play around with it. I've asked it things and I've said make it witty, make it funny, make it serious, make it professional. And it does, it still gets the point across, but adds a little bit of a sense of humor to it, or adds whatever I'm looking for. So if I had the ability, even as a customer service representative, because for the most part, your customer service people are the people monitoring that, hello at whatever company, they're monitoring and they're answering the same kind of questions. They're answering what are pickup times, what are delivery times. They're answering status questions. They're maybe providing a rate quote. If you can kind of automate that part where it cuts down on, maybe I don't have to send 10 extra emails a day because I have a bot, not necessarily a bot, but Chat GPT or anyone is already doing that for me. That's kind of a game changer, because that frees up time in my day to then maybe double check it. And we have some machine learning chat bot things on people's websites. But I think that this just really kind of allows that to be stronger and better, because it'll free up that time for that customer service person to then go back and monitor what that machine learning or what that bot is doing. So that way they are providing that empathy. They are really truly satisfying customers, but just with able to maximize the amount of hours that they have in the day.
Yeah, exactly. And what we can also do, what we're going to see happen as well for the customer service side is we've already seen, like you mentioned, some of the bots that help us auto respond and so forth, but those are very programmed into how they respond. And we have some amazing bots out here that we use every day, like Siri, Alexa, OK Google, right? These are things that we see. I probably hopefully just triggered everybody's phones when we did that. Mine just did. So so we have these great bots already that are interacting with us on a daily basis. But what we can do is take those interactions, and we using generative AI tools or Chat GPT, we can also take and build it against our knowledge base or our emailing history for our customer service team and let it supplement their model based off that. So the generative AI can use historical answers and information about our specific systems to generate their answer. And that's going to give us, again, that 80%, but 80% really in context to what we do and our business. And it's going to be really fun to see as the software teams start implementing some of those and tying it all together.
I'm really curious. I guess this is just me kind of speculating into the future. I'm really curious how these AI tools and doing kind of what you said combined with digital freight matching and something like that. I'm very curious as to how that's going to kind of level up and really just kind of change the entire game, more or less in some way. Because when you have that ability to, have it learn your business and your email history and kind of some common answers, and then pair it with, your some of that freight matching ability, I'm very curious as to what that would look like in a couple of years.
And I think what we're going to see there is a progression of technology, just like we've been seeing. Like the digital freight matching 7, 8 years ago was kind of non-existent, right? We were a little more traditional load board at that time, but now we've got some really smart people who've built some really amazing tools. And I think those same smart people or new smart people that are coming around are going to continue to add to it and continue to level up what we're doing with the freight matching, with optimization tools, with tracking updates, with responding to customers. And we'll see that continue to implement and increase. But I think we'll continue the path that we've already been on to bring and add more technology. And it requires us to all be open-minded to knowing that technology is changing over time. And I have to be prepared to run my business a little bit differently in 5 years than what I did 5 years ago. And as long as we're open-minded to that, and as long as we're being thoughtful about how we implement our technology and what's available to us, then our business will continue to evolve, and we'll see that evolution, and we'll see better route optimization. We'll see better freight matching. We'll see better utilization of trucks. We'll see more efficient utilization of trucks, better sustainability. All of these things will come out of the added technology that we'll get through the AI tools.
I'm really curious as to I guess kind of, I mean, obviously AI is not coming for our jobs anytime soon. But this actually reminds me of the other day I was talking to Gray Sharkey on Sirius XM, and we were talking about how, if you're a carrier right now, you should absolutely not be using a fax machine anymore. Like, I know it was even maybe like 7 years ago, I was still having to fax over bill of ladings to carriers because they just didn't have the ability to open a PDF on their phone or, have ability to do anything with it. And so I think that touches on to what you were talking about with like being receptive to technology is, it's not necessarily a detriment that this technology is coming and that it's improving things and making things easier for everyone. Because I think right now, if I was out brokering a load and someone said, let me get to the next truck stop so I can fax you something, I would be like, no, man, I'm out. I'm out. Like,
We're done
no.
with this.
And right. And I think one of the interesting things that's going to come up in the future is definitely how technology and those visibility tools relate to, driver privacy, because ultimately their off time is their off time. They're kind of allowed to do whatever they want. And we're starting seeing some of it now, but I'm just very curious as to, robots aren't quite coming for our jobs, because I don't know that there will ever be a non-human component to transportation. But I'm just interested to see kind of what developments happen and what are those things that are going to maybe get optimized and, cleaned up first.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting, and it's super fun. Being a technology guy, I've been talking about this my whole career, and that it's exactly that. Is technology going to take away my job? And it's interesting now because technology has matured so much that you can't even imagine a life without toting around our phones. I mean, I don't even like when it's in the other room, right? I mean, it's got to be close to me at all times. Um, and I think we all feel that way, right? So, but what we've seen, the actual numbers around it, is that technology hasn't taken away jobs. It's actually created more jobs than have been displaced. But what it has done is change some of the jobs. And I think that's what we're going to see as we bring some of these AI tools in place. And the thing that I heard that I think really articulates this better than anything ever, uh, especially when it comes to Chat GPT, is that Chat GPT isn't going to take your job, but somebody who can use Chat GPT well will take your job. And I think that articulates it, and that articulates the whole technology landscape perfectly. Because imagine, like you're saying with the fax machine, you have a driver who doesn't have a smartphone. I mean, that's pretty unacceptable. Like, let's just fix that. And if you want to fax, like, yeah, that's really unacceptable now. Like, let's step it up a little bit. So if you're not willing to do that, somebody else is.
And that's kind of only going to lead to your business detriment. Also, I don't know if I could walk onto any freight brokerage floor and say, hey, you have a fax machine, if anyone would actually know, A, what it looked like, B, where it was, or C, how to use it. Like, one of the really interesting things that I was always taught when I first started in the industry was, you always want to try to, this is going to sound weird, but I promise it makes sense. You always want to try to optimize yourself out of a job, if that makes sense. Like, you always kind of want to, like, you don't want to have to hire someone in to replace you to do the exact same job when there's a way that you can optimize it or make it better. And so that's something that I did when I first started. Was I was like, okay, well, here's where I spend all of my time. Here's how I can improve it. And whether that was just getting a system upgrade or literally just talking to the guy that managed like API or EDI calls or anything like that. I'm like, hey, can we change this like this? And then that takes away like 4 hours of my day. And he's like, yeah, no problem. And so it was one of those where I did run myself out of a job a few times. But after I did that, I kept getting more opportunities, and I kept getting to do that with other things, which was able to implement technology, which meant that we were able to run faster and grow faster and do other stuff like that. So I think it's always important to remember that, like, you kind of almost want to technology yourself out of a job, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. It for sure does, but it's a very progressive mindset to be able to think that way. But if we really do kind of break it down, the jobs that you're letting technology take for you are really the jobs that nobody wants to do anyway, right? It's the data entry of, entering 50 shipments or, like when you got one of those RFPs in and you had to go manually enter 400 or 500 shipments into your TMS. I mean, that's still a horrible process. It's not a job that anyone wants to do. And it's not a job that, it doesn't take advantage of your skill set. So let's automate that part of the job away. Let's still keep the other parts of your job. Let's keep the parts of our job that we like. Let's keep the customer interaction. Let's keep the live communication. Let's keep the part where we're analyzing data sets. Let's keep all that. And that part's a little harder for the machines to do anyway. Not impossible, but a little harder.
I mean, I've said it a million times. You can have all this technology, you can have all these innovations, but if you don't have someone to sit there and analyze the data and make an actionable plan on it, then you just have a lot of really fancy equipment around you.
That's right. Yeah, and they doesn't do any good if you don't do something with the results.
Exactly. But also, I think transportation's a long way off from ever losing that human touch or that phone call, because it's the whole nature of the business. I think we're many, many years away from ever being able to not pick up the phone throughout the entire day.
For sure. And I don't think there's really any compromise to it anyway, to that relationship building. Building trust with people is not something you can do without having a true interaction with them. And building trust is a really important part of our jobs in logistics. Even if we just think about the driver, we're trusting the driver to take hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of freight from one place to another, right? This is pretty important to all of us. Sure, we can insure it, but losing it and dealing with the insurance claim isn't something anyone wants to do. So there's trust in that, and having that phone call or having that interaction, it's super valuable and something that we should continue to have and continue to incorporate. Not to mention the negotiation part, right? We can always negotiate better live or interacting direct, and that part's kind of fun too.
That is the fun part. I would say everything you just talked about is one of my favorite things about being in logistics, working as a freight broker. The things that I don't like are the problems, the claims, the paperwork, hunting down signed BOLs or proofs of delivery, things that could easily be automated.
That's right. And then to bring that back into the AI space, if we are using the AI tools, and even like a tool like Sonar, which I'm sure uses some machine learning in the background of it to generate its data. Still, we have some AI there. I don't know for sure, but I can't imagine that it doesn't, because we hide AI everywhere today. So taking a tool like that and then using that to help us negotiate, that still brings us to the same point we were at before. The tools are getting us to a point where we know we can negotiate with a carrier with a little more strength. We know what we're talking about. We know whether or not it's a hot lane, and having that information at our fingertips and having that information easy to get to makes it so that we're so much better at our jobs. Makes us so that we can produce better results with less effort, and get more wins for our day. And that makes everybody feel good.
It really does. I mean, I think the biggest takeaway is that we can use it to just, like you said in the beginning, get us 80% of the way there and then seal it and then take it home for the last 20%. Speaking of taking it home for the last 20%, this is a hot, fresh question for you. We already know where you stand on hot dogs and sandwiches. We've heard your best dad joke. So I got a fresh, hot question for you.
All right, let's hear it.
If you could have any animal as your personal assistant, what would it be?
All right. So if being that we're talking about AI, can I have Chat GPT as my personal assistant?
I don't think Chat GPT is considered an animal.
That's fair.
But if it was, we'll allow it.
That's fair. So if we can qualify Chat GPT as my personal assistant, I'm taking Chat GPT for sure. But if we're going to stick with animals, I'm going to be a traditionalist, and I'm going with dog, because, it's our best friend, and I use the dog as my assistant today. He's very helpful. He barks at the mail truck whenever they could drive by, which is super important. Usually when I'm on podcasts, he's in there chirping in the background. But on the serious side, they're great companions, right? And they're always there for you to keep you up when you get worn down, or just give you a chance to remember that things are always good.
I know. I like that answer. That's a really, really good answer. If anyone wants to, get pictures of your dog, or talk to you about Chat GPT, or try their best trick at a Chat GPT generated email, where can they get a hold of you?
So you can reach us at TIE Software. It's tie-software.com, TAI, and find us on LinkedIn as well. We're all over LinkedIn and are posted regularly, so we'd love to hear from anybody.
I would like to also, to the TIE team, if you get any fantastic Chat GPT generated LinkedIn DMs, I would like to know about them, or just post them and see. Or if you send a Chat GPT generated DM to TIE, let us know about it.
I will for sure be sending you a thank you message written exclusively from Chat GPT. I'm going to do it blindly.
Thank you so.
I'm going to do it blind. I'm going South Park style. Just copy paste.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I always appreciate it.
Find Chat Call the Podcast anywhere you get your podcasts, like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Don't forget to check out all the other incredible FreightWaves podcasts, such as Point of Sale and People Speaking Rail. Don't forget to subscribe to the newsletter on freightwaves.com/chatcall. See you on the internet.